Welcome everybody to the ASUN Show. We are back after week 1, pushing pretty close to the start of week 2. That's my bad. But yeah, we got a bunch of games to get into this week. 13 for last week, 14 for this week. So let's just get started. We're gonna go in order of when they finished. So first game. Jacksonville absolutely destroying ETSU 43-14. Didn't expect this kind of jump from Jacksonville this early, but glad to see it. Purple off to a hot start this season. Fruity was a little bit of a disappointment first game in the ASUN, but I mean that's what you get when you move to the toughest conference. So he's gonna have to get used to it before real conference play starts up. But yeah, great game for Jacksonville. Able to put 2 touchdowns on the board in both the second and third quarter to really pull away. That just over 130 more yards and forced 4 fumbles on ETSU. So it was a bit of a turnover fest for Fruity and them. And that's what gave Jacksonville the edge in this game. So, yeah, great win by Purple, and looking to see it keep going in the rest of out of conference. Next is Chattanooga beating Villanova 34-28. Close game. Chatty scored almost all of their points in the first half, so it was a little bit of a comeback try from Villanova, but just not enough. With Chatty eking out the 6-point win. Yeah, great start for Chattanooga. I think he needed this to get off on the right track, maybe build some momentum before going into in conference, which he didn't do great in last season. Looks like he also forced 2 turnovers on Villanova, so these first couple games, the ASUN forcing a lot of turnovers, and it's getting them the wins. But yeah, great win by Chatty. Getting a win over, I believe Villanova's in the CAA, so that's a good win. Take down the conference that's trying to rival us. But yeah, good job. Next, we got Kennesaw State beating Idaho State 20-14. Judge keeping his dominance from last year. Well, not a dominant win, but keeping the wins up after going 9-3 last season, I believe. So yeah, a little bit of a comeback win for Kennesaw. Having to get a touchdown in the fourth quarter to tie it up, and then one more touchdown in overtime to put it away. So, great job by Kennesaw and the Kennesaw defense, being able to hold Tenney to only 14 points and 0 in the fourth and overtime. And yeah, Judge picking up where he left off. It's good to see. It's good to see for him and the ASUN as a whole. Maybe not if you're in the Dawn like me. Yeah, this game, a little bit of a turnover fest. Kennesaw had 3 fumbles. Idaho State had 2. So, Kennesaw lost turnover battle, but still was able to eke it out. But yeah, it's... Also, they missed a combined 4 field goals this game. I don't know how they did that. Neither of them made 1. But, yeah, they couldn't hit... Their kickers, they need to cut the kickers, apparently. But yeah, great game by Kennesaw, getting the ASUN the win, which we really needed, which you'll see later when we get to some of the later games. But yeah, Bethune-Cookman and the new coach Poet beat Maine 31-21. Very high scoring third quarter, 21. Bethune-Cookman winning at 21-14. Though more points in that quarter combined than more points in that quarter than every other quarter combined. But yeah, it looks like an exciting third quarter. Maine 2 fumbles and Bethune-Cookman pulled out the win. Great win for Poet to keep the Bethune-Cookman streak going. I think that's probably 6 or 7 games now. It's the run. And then, like, I don't know, 13 out of its last 14? It's somewhere around there. I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it's a great run by Bethune-Cookman, and Poet is keeping it going. So, yeah. Great win by Poet. Maine, don't remember exactly how good they did last year, but I remember they had a couple comeback wins, and they were a tough out for everybody. So being able to put them away with a 10-point win is pretty impressive showing. Next, we have Butler defeating Campbell 31-22. This was the first true ASUN loss this week. I don't count ETSU losing because that was to another ASUN team. But yeah, Campbell, a little bit of a disappointing start for them with the 9-point loss. Just consistent offense by Butler, set with 7, 9, 8, and 7 points in each quarter, and Campbell couldn't quite keep up. Looks like late touchdown to maybe keep it close, but it was not enough. 2 fumbles for Campbell just iced the game, I'm guessing. So hopefully Campbell can get back on track next week, and we can keep it. We can keep the ASUN dominance alive. Next, Duquesne, however you want to say it, beat Stetson 35-18. If I remember correctly, this was one of the games Hat was saying they were confident about. So that didn't end up well for them. 14 points in each of the first 2 quarters. So going into halftime, Stetson was down 28-6. It's not a good place to be in, and it didn't get much better for him afterwards. 2 fumbles for Stetson. So again, turnover battle seems to be pretty big, at least so far this season. But yeah, it's a tough loss for Stetson. But they've had some slow parts before. I'm sure they'll turn it back around. Just depends on how fast they do it. If they can keep themselves in the dawn race or playoff race. But yeah, I'm sure they'll have some great wins this season. It just depends on how fast it takes them to turn this around, because this is a bad loss. Next, we got Samford defeating Elon 24-17. The NIT champion falling. To a first round out in the NIT, I believe. I think Samford had to go up against Matt in the first round, and ended up getting knocked out in NIT. So, showing that the NIT was pretty tough. Like it was a good competition. But yeah, great win for Samford. Showing that they can beat at least fringe playoff teams. I'd say Elon, I'd say the NIT, plenty of teams that were right on the edges, definitely could have been playoff teams. And if you beat the NIT champion, that's pretty much a playoff team. It's could have snuck in over any of the conference championships at Long Island. But yeah, it was a great win for Samford. A little bit of a comeback win, getting 14 points in the fourth quarter. So that's great to see, being able to rally that late. So yeah, great win by Samford. Keep it going. Yeah. Next game is North Alabama at South Dakota State. North Alabama beats them 35-13. Wally, he had Yeah, he had like 2 weeks to figure out. He took like 2 weeks to figure out last season, and since then he has been on a roll. 28 points in the first half for Wally, leading 28-7 at half, and then it just never got better for South Dakota State. South Dakota State threw 2 picks and didn't hit 200 yards of offense. So even though they held the ball longer than Wally, so great defensive showing by Wally and great offensive showing, just putting up 35 points on under 300 yards of offense. That's pretty efficient. So yeah, great win by Wally. It looks like he's definitely going to give Ampersand a run for his money in the Ducks this season. He was already doing that last season, and he gave himself a couple week handicap because of joining in the middle of the season. So this is going to be a fun season to watch for Wally, and yeah, we'll see how far he can take this team. Next, Davidson ekes out the win on Alabama A&M 38-35. Not super surprising because Ampersand has never been good in the first couple weeks. He takes a couple weeks to get into a groove. I think he started both seasons 0-2 at this point. But yeah, it's tough. High scoring fourth quarter. Alabama A&M outscoring Davidson actually, but a 21-7 second quarter and then a 7-0 third quarter really put Ampersand down, and it wasn't enough in the fourth quarter. So yeah, tough loss by Ampersand, Alabama A&M. Hopefully they can avoid going 0-2 again. I'd like to see that, get them an out-of-conference win early. But yeah, it's a tough loss for Alabama A&M. Next, we have Southern Illinois eking out a win over Alabama State in overtime, 30-27. This is a tough loss for Turk. It looks like he got ball first in overtime and was only able to get a field goal and then gave up a touchdown. So it's a tough one for Turk and them. I believe they started out pretty well in out-of-conference last season and then kind of fell apart in conference. So not even being able to get that out-of-conference win early is a tough one. I hope Turk can turn it around. Next week he has a chance to get back to 500. Yeah, it definitely looks like Turk should have won this one. He forced 4 turnovers and committed 0 himself. It's just wasn't meant to be, apparently. Southern Illinois just a little too much right at the end. Yeah. So yeah, tough loss for Turk. We'll have to see if he turns it around. Next, we got Portland State beating Mercer. Mercer, who preseason toughest schedule in the ASUN, doesn't start off well for him. Yeah, it's just consistent scoring from Portland State, 7-7, 7-13. Looks like Mercer, Uncle Rico couldn't play defense this game. It just wasn't there. And couldn't get much on offense himself. Only 18 points. So, yeah, interception. Got more total yardage than him. It just wasn't quite enough. It couldn't convert on enough drives to keep in the game. So, yeah, tough loss by Mercer. Has plenty of time to get back into it, but just not a very good start for Mercer or the ASUN in general. Really, it's a fine. We went 7-7 this week, 6-6 if you take out the Jacksonville ETSU game. which isn't bad. It's just not the expectations we set ourselves up for last season. But 3 more out-of-conference weeks. We got time to fix that. But real quick, we got 2 more games. Jacksonville State wrecking Holy Cross 45-13. Matt is back. It was a scoreless second and third quarter for both teams, but Matt didn't really need to score then when he had 24 in the first and 21 in the fourth. So getting off to a hot start and then putting them away at the end. Matt on a roll. Well, it looks like on a roll early. He's ready for his revenge season. Mad that his playoff streak got interrupted. But yeah, it looks like we're going to have, I think we're going to have 3 contenders in the dust this season with Ampersand, North Alabama, and Jacksonville State. And Jacksonville State, I think, had the best showing this week, and so it's going to be a fun season to watch that little group fight it out. And final game of the week. Robert Morris defeats Florida A&M 14-10. Just not much went right for me. It was a very slow game. Both of us were pretty busy, and it just never seemed to line up until right at the end of the week when we were able to finish the game. We finished it Saturday, I believe. I don't remember what time, how much we had left, but we got it close. But yeah, I was in a little bit of a rush, and I had stopped paying attention in the fourth quarter, and so I was up 10-7, or no, I was down 14-10, and I was driving, and I got to his side of the field, and then late turnover to ice the game. I still had 3 timeouts, but it didn't help when I couldn't play defense. So yeah, disappointing start. My streak, I was 6-0 in the first 3 weeks. That's gone. But yeah, so I got a little making up to do if I want to actually improve on my record from last season. Gonna have to win a couple ASUN games. So yeah, like I said, 7-7 this week. Not terrible, but we wanted better. If we're shooting for 40 wins, which I don't know if we can do now, we can. It's just gonna be very tough. We're gonna have to get 12 wins in a week. But we have a chance to do it this week. We'll see how it goes. Little preview for this week. Gonna go in alphabetical order of the games. 14 games, so stick with me. It's gonna be a little bit to get through all of them. We got 0-1 Alabama A&M heading to 1-0 Dixie State. Alabama A&M trying to get back on track. Trying to avoid starting 0-2 for the 3rd consecutive season. So yeah, looks like it's probably going to be a tough game for him, but doable game. I don't think he's going against I don't think it's one of the top tier coaches who's at Dixie State, so I might be wrong. But every game's tough in fake college football, so. Next, we got 0-1 Furman heading to 0-1 Alabama State. Furman does not have Uga anymore, I'm fairly sure. So it's not going to be... Well, actually, I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. But yeah, Alabama State trying to also not start 0-2. With how they struggled in conference last season, I don't think they want to start 0-2 in out of conference. So, very important game for Alabama State. Get back on track. Try to prepare as best they can for in conference. Next, we got 0-1 North Carolina A&T at Bethune-Cookman, who is 1-0. Poet trying to keep the Bethune-Cookman win streak alive. And I don't think it's not a notable coach. It's not a playoff coach, I believe. So it's not going to be a cakewalk probably, but it's not going to be a top tier matchup either. But it should be a good game. Next, we got 1-0 Charleston Southern heading to 0-1 Campbell. I think this is a tough game. I think Charleston Southern is a pretty good CFC coach, and so it's going to be a tough game for Campbell to get back on track. So yeah, Campbell's gonna have to work hard for this one to get back to 500 and try to be ready for in-conference next week. Next, we got 1-0 Chattanooga heading to 0-1 Harvard. I think the Ivy in general is pretty tough. There's not many teams, and they have a good amount of good coaches with Jocks and Princeton and, Einstein, sorry. I'm not sure how good Harvard in particular is, but I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for Chatty, but if he can start 2-0, he's going to be on the right track. It's looking ahead. Oh, he has Kennesaw State next week. Yeah, he's going to need to be prepared for that. Not overlook Harvard in preparation for that, but you don't want to start 1-2, so he probably needs this win. Next, 1-0 Butler is heading to 0-1 East Tennessee State. Butler going on a little bit of an ASUN tour, beating Campbell last week. So Fruity gonna have his work cut out for him, but this is where he was a pretty good coach last season, and I think he can get the ASUN the win here, avenge Humpy for us. Next, 0-1 Florida A&M at 1-0 Hampton. I think I need this win. It's gonna be a tough game. It's don't want to start 0-2 going into next week, and so gotta march into Hampton and beat them. Next, another team going on a little ASUN tour. Chesney, who's 1-0, heading to Jacksonville, who's 0-1. Oh wait, I think they got that wrong on the sheet. Jacksonville is 1-0. So we got two 1-0 teams here. Purple with the good ASUN win last week, beating Fruity. So this week has a chance to try and avenge Stetson, who got destroyed by Duchesne last week. So yeah, it's going to be a really good game. I think this might be game of the week. I'm not sure. We'll see. But yeah, excited to see if Purple can keep it going. Next, we have 1-0 Jacksonville State at 1-0 Jackson State. Don't know much about Jackson State, but they started off 1-0, so at least decent team. Yeah, just Matt's on a roll. I'd like to see that keep going, and we got we got battles of, I don't know what to call it, the Jacksons. I think they scheduled this purely off name. But yeah, should be a good game. And hopefully Matt can keep it going. Next is 1-0 Morehead State at 1-0 Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State had the good win last week. Hoping he's hoping to keep it going. And I don't know if I think Morehead State is Ed, maybe. I'm bad with names. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen Morehead State around Discord and stuff. Active coach. Not going to be an easy out. Going to be a tough out for Kennesaw State, but Judge can do it. He's done it many times. He's done it many times before, and so, but still, should be a good game. Next, we got 1-0 Wofford going to 0-1 Mercer. Uncle Rico looking for redemption after a bad loss. I'm trying to think who the Wofford coach is. I can't think of him on the top of my head. Sorry. But yeah, should be a tough game for Mercer, but he's gonna need it. He's gonna need this game if he wants to turn this season back around. Next, Wally and North Alabama head to Eastern Illinois. Both teams 1-0. Wally, after the dominant win last week, looking to keep the ball rolling, keep it going into in-conference. But it looks like he's going to have a tough opponent this week. So we'll see how well he does. But he looks like he's figured this game out a little bit. So I think he's going to win. Next, we got Indiana State at Samford. Another battle of 1-0s. Samford trying to keep the ball rolling after a great win last week. I don't know much about Indiana State. I don't know. Hold on a sec. Let's see. I'm actually going to see who they beat. Nope, that's going to take too long. Never mind, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, Indiana State 1-0. Decent team at least. I feel like I've seen them in Discord. I can't think who it is. Anyway, Samford trying to keep going. And finally, 0-1 Stetson heading to 1-0 Valparaiso. Stetson, bad loss last week, and so trying to redeem themselves. Don't know when it's going to happen with Stetson. I know they'll go on a win streak, probably get a couple dominant wins this season, but it's when it starts happening. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if Hat can turn it around this week, or if it's going to take him a couple weeks to get back in the groove of things. Do we have power rankings out as I'm recording this? We do not have power rankings out yet, so I will go through and make my own power rankings real quick. And we'll see how well it matches up with the combined one later. So, first I have Kennesaw State. Second best team last year. And starting off 1-0 this year. Judge gets top spot. Next, it's tough. I think I'm going to go with Matt and Jacksonville State. The dominance they showed in their win this week, and I know Matt's a great coach. Has proved it over the past 3 seasons, really. Yeah, he's been here 3 seasons. Made the playoffs first 2. Had some stuff get in the way last season, but still almost managed to scrape their way back in. So yeah, start off 1-0 and the dominance he showed. I got Matt and Jacksonville State at second. Third, I am going to put Wally in North Alabama, starting 1-0. He showed what he can do last season, and it looks like he's turning it, not turning it around, but keeping it going. I guess you could say turning around, since North Alabama wasn't great before he joined the team, but I won't say it's keeping it going because he did this last season. So yeah, North Alabama at 3. I am then going to have, I think I'm going to do, so 4, 5, 6 is going to be some order of Chattanooga, Jacksonville, and Samford. I think I'm going to keep it that order. Chattanooga, Jacksonville, Samford. All good coaches with disappointing seasons last season. But they look like they're going to keep it going this season. Not keep it going, but they're going to turn it around this season and win some extra games. We'll see how it... I don't think any of these teams did great in conference, so we're going to see how it is once we get there. But, yeah, great wins by them this week, and we'll see if they can keep it going. Well, last week. This week is new games. Whatever. Next, I'm going to have Alabama A&M. I dropped them because they're 0-1. But Ampersand's still one of the better coaches in the ASUN and in the league in general. The 0-1 teams, I'd say Ampersand's the best coach, and so I'm going to put him there at 7. Right? No, 8. Oh, crap. I forgot about Bethune-Cookman. No, I'd put Bethune-Cookman at 4 above Chatty. So, list Kennesaw, Jacksonville State, North Alabama, Bethune-Cookman, Chatty, Jacksonville, Samford. Bethune-Cookman dropped way down in the power rankings last week because nobody knew how Poet was going to do. But he proved he can win. I still have him being low Kennesaw, Jacksonville State, and North Alabama because I have seen them win ASUN games, and I have not seen that yet with Poet. But the history of Bethune-Cookman and the way he was able to win this week, I think he deserves that 4 spot. Then Chatty at 5, Jacksonville at 6, Samford at 7, and Alabama A&M at 8. Let's see. Next, I think I'd go Mercer and then ETSU. Both great coaches, just disappointing starts. And that order because I've seen Mercer win ASUN games. Have not seen Fruity do that yet. Then I would do Campbell and Stetson. Good teams, good coaches, just didn't get the win this week. They'll jump back up if they win this week. And then for the final 2, I'd have myself and Alabama State. Just not good performances this week sorry. That's disrespect to Alabama State. They did pretty well, took it to overtime, it just got unlucky at the end. I did not have a good performance this week. But yeah, it's going to be shaken up next week. But my final list is Kennesaw, Jacksonville State, North Alabama, Bethune-Cookman, Chattanooga, Jacksonville, Samford, Alabama A&M, Mercer, ETSU, Campbell, Stetson, Alabama State, Florida A&M. Yeah. I think that's all we got this week. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I should start having guests soon. I got some stuff to work out with OBS, because last time I tried to record with guests, I recorded myself twice. So I'd like not to do that again. But yeah, we should have guests coming back starting next week. And yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys this week. Thank you for listening. All of you have a great week, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.